r/askreddit. What brings the worst out in people?
Divorce proceedings, especially with kids involved. It can turn a couple of average people into monsters.
Marriage Story captures this extremely well. By the end of it, I just hated lawyers.
I always liked the HALT rule. If you're feeling hungry, angry, late, or tired, then it's likely things you say or do will come off worse than you intend.
I thought the L was for lonely. Both work.
The word free in a retail or restaurant type of setting. People will trample one another, take all of the items so there aren't any for others, gorge themselves, try to sneak food out with them. It's disgusting.
I was going to say that. The first manager who comped product due to poor service really screwed it up for everyone. Now I have to listen to someone who wants something for free because the box has a dent in it.
Yep, and there are customers that deliberately pick something that's not broken but may have visible damage like a scratch or what you mentioned, a dent. Not enough to make it unusable, but enough to make it unusable, but enough so they'll ask, is this discounted because it's damaged? To which I reply no, but thank you for notifying me of the damage, and I happily take it and tell them I'm damaging it out.
When a loved one dies, people get really, really weird in a bad way about money and stuff. I know a bunch of people who had relatives who flat out stole money and valuables after the death of a family member. It's crazy. My own family has a permanent rift because when my grandmother died, 2 of the 5 siblings cleaned out her accounts.
Weddings. My father is a minister. He says he would rather help with a funeral over a wedding any day. Weddings leave people with a sense of extreme desperation to achieve perfection.
The worst is when the expectation for perfection is from the mother of the bride and not the engaged couple. Nothing worse than 2 kids trying to have a nice day and Momzilla just effing decimates it because she can't stand not being the center of attention for one moment.
Yeah, exactly. It's even worse when there's divorced parents involved and they're both trying to up the other one or think they shouldn't be involved. The level of pettiness and arguments with it is insane, and it doesn't even end up being about the couple anymore.
Traffic.
A person who is cut off while driving. Ah, that same person who is cut off while walking. Ooh, sorry.
It's really hard to kill someone by walking into them. It's really easy to kill someone by driving into them. I think the stakes and the stress that comes with them are what makes the difference here.
Hunger can make people do things they never thought they were capable of doing. It can drive your mind out of control.
Without food and water, human civilization is 48 hours away from becoming vicious tribal warfare.
Desperation.
Amen. When I was a kid, probably like grade 5-6, my mum thought it would be a cool present to open a bank account for me with some money in it already. I was super excited to have my own card like a big kid. My dad wasn't in the best place at the time. My parents had divorced because he was going down a spiral of drug abuse, and my mum didn't want me exposed to that. I saw him on weekends, but lived with my mum. Fast forward to my birthday, and my mum put 100s into my account, which was a huge amount for a kid. Went to make my first purchase. A game for my Xbox 360 card declined. Weird. Check my balance. 20. I found out a week later my dad had stolen the money from my account to fuel his addiction. He was usually the nicest, most caring and funny guy out there. But when he got desperate, he'd do some really shitty thing.
I'm so sorry, dude. I can't imagine being 10 and having to process that happening.
Unprocessed trauma from childhood. As someone that is struggling with mental health, I'm only now beginning to understand why I do a lot of what I do. When our needs for love and acceptance aren't met, we seek out soothing behaviours that numb the pain. It's really easy to end up in midlife with no real idea what it means to be happy and feeling no connection to others. As you begin to work on your issues, you find that the soothing behaviours are no longer as soothing because you know why you're doing it, so you're stuck with the emptiness that you've always felt and no way to get out of the feeling.
Anonymity. Putting a mask on. Being on the internet or otherwise concealing one's identity. People do some very fucked up things when they know they won't be held accountable.
The internet has proven that. Although even Facebook has shown that some people still don't care, they'll say the worst things and be proud of it. Power.
Almost every dictatorship ever. They don't want to lose their power.
Reminds me of a quote I heard recently. What's the one thing that people with power want? More power.
Travel. To know what a person is really like, go travelling with them.
Yup. Gave this advice to my oldest when he was getting serious with his college girlfriend. They went on a trip from New York to FL together for a week. broke up a week after they got back. Scarcity.
I agree with this. It's happened many of times before, and it will happen again. Funerals. All the heightened emotions make people irrational. Any buried family drama comes out at the worst possible time. I've been caught in the middle of it before. I didn't even know the deceased. I was there supporting my friend who had lost her mother. Someone decided this was the time to air a 20-year-old grudge as my friend walked by. My friend was so caught off guard by the accusations she was speechless. I told this crazy lady this wasn't the time or the place for this conversation, so she turned on me. Next thing I knew, some other family member was violently yanking her out of the room. I guess it could have been worse, but why did you have to make a scene at a funeral?
My great-grandmother died a few years back, and my aunt told my other aunt's son that he looked handsome and that she was excited for him to start at the insert sex school here. At the reception, and he decided to rest in peace, absolute butt in front of her in response.
Hey, farted on her.
Ego.
That's the word. I was about to say jealousy and the constant need for revenge, but ego fits better. Money. The moment money is involved, a person's true nature comes out, and most of the time it won't be pretty.
This reminds me of all the people who lost their money due to lotteries because so many people thought they deserved some of it till the actual winner had nothing left.
An acquaintance of mine was telling me how his mother-in-law won on a scratch ticket. He then complained about the amount she was giving to her kids. The total won wasn't a whole lot, and really not enough to be gifting others, but she was still generous enough to think of them.